Hi guys, Cyborgmatt here at DreamHack Summer 2014 for the Dream League Season 1 offline finals. I'm joined here by AdmiralBulldog from Team Alliance. And you guys have actually just finished your first day here. You've successfully made your way to day 2. And how's your first day been, basically?
Well, obviously it's been great since we went 3-0. I think it was somewhat unexpected for even us because we've been scrimming and it's been going decent, not amazingly well. And the teams here are all really good, but it just felt like after the first game we just gained momentum and we just crushed our way through.
Now, speaking of scrimming, you guys recently set up a team house in Gothenburg, which is roughly about an hour away from here. How has the team house experience been for you guys, and how long have you actually been there for?
Well, we were there a little bit before China, like a week. And then after that we were at home for like 3-4 days, and ever since that we've been there. So I don't know, it's like a week now again, and we'll stay there until TI.
Okay. And in terms of scrimming, is there a limited amount of teams you scrim against, you choose to scrim against, or do you tend to just scrim against anyone who's available?
Well, generally we just try to get the best teams, obviously, like Fnatic and Mouse and these teams, but if none of them are unavailable, we usually don't scrim, but sometimes we do anyway. You know, it's still because if you have nothing to do, but yeah, just generally it's tier 1 teams.
Okay. Now, if you can't scrim, do you guys fall back on anything like watching replays or anything like that?
Yeah, we usually do play some one-on-ones and other matchups like 2 versus 1 and stuff like that. And yeah, we do watch some replays. Before TI3 we generally never watch replays, and we didn't really need to at that time, but we started doing it recently, and it helps us out, so yeah, that's usually what we do.
Now, you said you're a bit surprised at how well you've actually done today. Would you say that opting to skip the summit and not bother trying to qualify for that event and some other events, giving yourself some more free time to actually focus on moving the team together and into a house and scrimming, do you think that's starting to pay off now? You can see that that's been helping you guys?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, the problem with some tournaments is that they're LAN, and then you have to travel to China, and there's jet lag, and there's so long to travel time, and then come home, and then you go to America again, and it's traveling really wears you down. That's mainly the issue for me, at least. Playing many tournaments online is not that big of a deal for me, but just the traveling gets to you when it's too much.
So, looking slightly forward, the international is looming ahead. We're looking at just under $10 million prize pool, which is kind of an insane amount of money. I mean, did you ever expect the Dota 2 community to just raise just that much money for one tournament?
I think I expected something like 5-6 millions, and that was pretty generous, I felt. But now it's going to be 10 million, maybe slightly more. So that's pretty crazy, and you know, we'll see what that makes people do there.
As a player, if you had the option to influence how the prize pool was split up, what would you change compared to TI3? Would you see more teams get more money across the board? Would you still want first place to get 50% of that?
Well, I haven't thought too much about it, but I mean, I don't think it should be like last year, at least, because the prize pool is so big. Just giving the bottom 8 like 1% each, or a 0.5% to give them something, because I mean, they've done well enough to get there, and doing that I think is important. And the first place, I don't know if 50% is maybe too high now, maybe it isn't. Even if it is 50%, you know, giving the second place 30%, 25%, it's still so much. So I don't know. Hopefully they release it soon, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do.
Speaking of 50% now, I mean, say for instance it's $10 million, that's $5 million for the winning team. Is that almost too much money for a team? Is that almost, when you get to the territory, especially with some of the teams like in Eastern Europe, like, would they even consider just instantly retiring after that? Is that one worry that should be there, maybe?
Well, if you win that, I don't see why you should retire. I mean, if you love the game, you're going to keep playing, and you know, who's to say that TI5 is not going to be 20 millions? You know, who knows? So And 5 million, sure, that's a lot, but you know, human beings are greedy. We want more.
So, as a TI winner, what kind of, winning $1 million, for instance, like, how much impact does that have on your look at the other tournaments? I know for Alliance, after TI3, you guys kind of went into a bit of a lull period where maybe you didn't deliver as high as what you did at TI. Was that just a team attitude thing where we've just won all this money? These tournaments look very small compared to that. Is that something you worry about as well?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, at that point, I think the first tournament we played in was like Staller or something, and it was like first prize $12,000, and you know, sure, it's not all about the money, but you don't get as motivated when it's like that. But even now, if you win TI, win $5 million, then you go back. You know, tournaments with like $100,000, it's still a lot of money. And even if you win 50,000, whatever, you know, it's not the same. It's still a lot of money. And I think even if you win TI4, you're still gonna stay motivated. I feel so, yeah.
Yeah. So looking at DreamHack, this is a prime example of once again the community helping out the prize pool. $250,000 here on the line, thanks to the community raising a big chunk of that. Do you think? Is this something you're happy with, the community helping chip in through tickets, through compendiums? I know some players are they want less responsibility on the community to pump up that number, but as a player, are you pretty happy with that? You know, the community giving back in that way?
Yeah, of course. And I like how they distribute the prize pool as well here.
Yeah.
I mean, even getting here, you get $20,000, and that's quite a lot. Like last year, you barely got that for first place. Now you get that at sixth place here, and it's good for a competitive team because people can make a living off it now, and it just makes more teams become better and more established teams. So I really like how they've done it here and how the community have helped it possible.
That's good to hear. Now, Dream League's one of the tournaments here that are actually, their compendium is a separate prize pool. So for those at home who don't know, every team who actually competed in the Dream League season 1 will actually get part of the compendium money. So everyone is basically making money off the tournament, no matter if they got to the line or not. Speaking of which, what's your opinion on the format today? It's very strange. We've had a starting off with the best of ones, and now we see EG and Mouse Sports in the lower bracket. Do you think that's pretty harsh for LAN? You turn up on the first day and then having to, going down to almost going home after losing 1 or 2 games?
Well, I mean, you have to have, the event is only like 3 days anyway, so you have to make it some way possible. And I mean, even if you lose, you still get $20,000, so you shouldn't feel too bad if you lose. And I mean, the best of 1 first game, I think it's okay, because then it's best of 3 anyway. So I mean, if you lose, then you lose. That's the way it works. And I don't know, I don't mind the format. I like how the first 2 teams get a huge advantage.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits, I think.
Yeah, I like it. Too bad we didn't get there, but we're there now anyway. So yeah, I like how the format is. And
actually looking at the playoffs, you guys, it was kind of a close shave. You guys only just made it through into the tournament. And looking at ESL, you're receiving a direct invite to there. Do you feel direct invite should still happen nowadays, or would you prefer everyone just pit it out, fight for through the playoffs for the spots?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, I enjoy getting a direct invite, so I don't have to play. Don't like qualifiers. That's nice, but yeah, I think maybe the top 2 teams. I think it makes sense, especially for a tournament like TI. Obviously, you need to invite teams there. I think it makes the most sense. Maybe not all. But at least half of them. So yeah, I think it's at least 2 teams or something like that. It's fine.
Okay. Now, if I was to ask you who you're going to bet your raise on today, do you think it's going to be EG, Mouse Sports, or Fnatic? To go up there with you guys?
Well, it's pretty rough. We've been scrimming Mouse a lot, and they've been really good, I think. Over EG, but then again, EG won the summit, and they beat DK, and when we played DK, they were really good. So, and then Fnatic, they have a stand-in, and I don't think they'll make it. I think they'll go out. So probably EG or Mouse, and I would say Mouse.
Okay. Now, speaking of stand-ins, it's kind of a similar story. Yourself, You you started off, your entrance to the competitive scene was standing for Navi. I believe Dendy scouted you in a pub game, and it's kind of like a similar role to what Excalibur's doing now. Making that transition from being like a #1 pub star into like a proper competitive team, just how difficult is that? Because I mean, Excalibur's been getting a lot of praise, but it's also been getting a lot of hate, and he's been trying. You know, it seems to be pretty hard to integrate yourself into a team when all you've played all your life is pub games. So, just from your point of view, how hard was that for you?
Well, obviously it's really hard, and for someone he's kind of like me, that he plays a lot of the same heroes like Tinker and Meepo. That's why we banned him every game. We even scrimmed him where they played Meepo against us and we lost. So I still kind of have the problem with my hero pool, but you know, I kind of manage it. So for him, he would just need to get comfortable with heroes that are not Tinker and Meepo. And once he does that, he still always have the strength of like they can pick Tinker whenever they want and be super strong with it. But as soon as he gets comfortable with other heroes, I think Fnatic's going to become a super strong team again.
Okay, that's a good answer. So earlier this year, you were in China for WPC. Now, that's one of your many trips to China. As a team, what's your opinion on actually traveling to China and competing against the Chinese teams? Is it becoming less and less relevant, or is it becoming more and more relevant to go over there before such a big event like TI?
I'm not sure. I think it's becoming less relevant because the Chinese team usually come to us more now. Before they never came to Europe or the Americas or anything like that. So and now they do. So you can get your practice against them there. And I mean, it was a good experience going there, even though I don't like going to China so much. I don't like the food so much, and it's really hot all the time. And I didn't like how the format was so much either, and how the prize pool was distributed. How it's so top heavy in China, I really dislike that. So it's nice to be back here.
Okay. And speaking of back here, you have the home crowd behind you. The cheers in the crowd for when you guys were playing was probably the loudest it's been all day. That must help you guys when you're on stage, or do you just focus on the game?
Well, obviously it helps. Always when people support you, it makes you feel more comfortable and stronger. And when you get those first kills and everyone cheers for you, it just builds up momentum and it really helps. Yeah.
That's good to hear. Now, before I let you shoot, obviously you'll have fans and sponsors you'd like to thank, so I want to just give you that opportunity.
Yeah, just shout out to all our sponsors. We got so many new ones now. Like, just shout out to all our sponsors and shout out to Shiver. That's the only one that matters, really.
Okay. And there's a shout out for Shiver in there. Thanks, guys. We'll be here all weekend covering DreamHack, so stick with us.